Hey Year 10, sorry I can't be there with you again today. You should be in the electronics room, so it means that you haven't got access to cameras this lesson, but the second half of the lesson you're going to move back to graphics, so you will have access to the cameras. I've asked for the cameras to be put out, but as much important part of this course as important, as the photography is actually documenting what is going off and what's gone off with as you've shot things, and we've talked about this before. So what I've done today is I've put together an example PowerPoint that you might be creating as a photography student, and remember, everything could count for your GCSE, could be included if we go into lockdown or there's long periods of absence. So I'm just going to get rid of me on the screen so you can just hear my voice. And here we are. So the first slide should say your name, the project title, and you need to make your slides A3. And I've saved this PowerPoint to the Google Classroom for you. So if you can't remember how to do that, click on that link on the Google Classroom and it will take you to a little 30-second video to show you how. So the first thing you need to do in this project and in lots of projects, once you've actually got your idea, is to find an artist that does that kind of work and create a mood board. And then you're going to write a little bit about what you found out about that artist. So I've done two examples. This one's quite a famous photographer that died in 1984 called Ansel Adams. And as you can see, I've talked about the artist himself very briefly. And then I've talked more about the art. Now, when I say artist, that includes photographers. So you could look at an artist, traditional artist, or you could look at a photographer, either. I've picked this guy. He's a semi-professional, and this is more connected with the project that I'm going to talk you through that I'm doing. I've taught a different subject completely to you, so you can't steal my ideas. So my intention with my little project here is to do a little Christmas card front. It's a still life, and I've picked this guy because I really like the way he uses light, and I want to get this feeling in my work. And I've said a little bit about the artist, and I've talked about what he mainly does in his work. So next thing is to plan. So you could draw a plan like that by hand and photograph it and put it into your PowerPoint. There's nothing wrong with that. It probably hasn't got as much detail on as the next one, but if you want to do it by hand, that is absolutely fine. This is the same kind of thing that I've done using Photoshop, not Photoshop, using PowerPoint. A little bit more about the information, so I've talked about what I want to create. I've put an example there of how I kind of want to just get that feeling going there. Here is a little bit about what the little symbols mean, bits about my lighting, and little bits about my settings for my camera, or what I want to kind of achieve. So on the original PowerPoint that, again, as I said, is in your Google Classroom, these are different little videos to tell you how to save photographs onto your drive, to create a contact sheet, and how to insert that contact sheet into PowerPoint. So this is called post-production. So once you've taken your photographs, then the first thing you should do is load all your photographs off your memory card, and we've not been doing this necessarily, onto your drive. So click that video if you're not sure how to do it. Once you've got them onto your drive into a separate folder, then create your contact sheet, and this will show you how to save your contact sheet if you can't remember to get them into Google. No screen printing, please. So in your work, in your PowerPoint, you're going to add your contact sheets. Now you could add your contact sheets and annotate them like this and have a little key to show the examiner or me what it means. Or you could do it like this. You could print them off and actually write on them by hand. But the idea of the contact sheet is you can review all of your images, and then you can, the ones you want to do, you can look at the file numbers here at the bottom. So these file numbers here and here, so you can look them up on your images to take further forward. So I've picked some images that I quite like off my contact sheets. I did 5 contact sheets for this particular shoot that I did. So I did everything that you would expect me to do. On Wednesday you will get a little bit about how a little video about how I shot this for you to have a look at. But for today, let's just move forward. So you pick 2 or 3 shots that you really like them of. You need to insert them and not use a screenshot. So do not use a screenshot. Comment on each one, saying what was successful, how you did it, etc. But I'm going to show you some examples. So this is one of the shots that I really liked, but my intent was to get a cozy feel. Although this is a really nice shot, it didn't give me the cozy feel. I've showed you how I've edited it. That would be a really good thing to include. And by the way, I've just put a grey background on these so it's easier for you to see, as opposed to you either use white or black. I've said what I've done to it, and this shows the evidence of what I've done, and then I've reviewed my image there. Same with this one. I've said what I've done, what editing I've done, and I've reviewed my image there. Here I've done a little bit more, so that's my initial image, that's my finished image, and I've said actually because there's all this dark area here, it would make a very good greetings card, which is what my intent was supposed to be. So I put some seasonal greetings on just to show you what it looks like. And this is my favourite image, and this was a little bit more complicated about how it was edited. So this is how it started, but then when I applied the levels to it, this area here, so this bit here, was still really quite bright. So I've created a little video. So on the original PowerPoint you can click here, and that video shows you how I created this mask and how I went through to make sure that bit was as dark as the rest. And again, I've said what I've done, I've shown some evidence, and I've reviewed the image. Now I want to remind you that you're working on A3, so the slides I've just shown you were set up on A4, but if you're working on A3 you can get 2 edits to a sheet like this. Remember, no writing across the whole page. You can put a title across, but not across the whole page. So this is probably how I would lay out the second sheet with the second lots of editing on. So last slide, I haven't done you an example. I want you to think about how you might lay it out. So what you need to do, I'm going to pop back, I think. Oh, it's not going to let me pop back. I want you to write about, review your camera settings, what you found out. So review your camera settings, what you found out, what you're going to change. You might be wanting to change the props you're using. It could be all kinds of things. You might say that photo shoot was a complete disaster, hated it. We're going to put that one down to experience. That's equally as fine as anything else that you would do. It's really fine for you to say, I've reviewed it, didn't like it. The thing not to do is to get rid of it. You need to keep it as one of your photo shoots. And then you repeat the process again. Now obviously this PowerPoint's got lots of slides in it, so it looks longer than it was because there's lots of examples in there and instructions. Once you've done your third photo shoot, you would then add a final masterpiece, but we're not at that point yet. So just to reiterate, Year 10, this is our second week on this project. You should be writing up your first photo shoot, prepping for your second photo shoot, which could be period 3 today, or it could be actually on Wednesday's lesson, equally on Wednesday's lesson. So that's where I'm expecting you to be at. I will be back in school, not on Wednesday though, I'll be back in school on Thursday. So what I'm going to get you to do is, after Wednesday's lessons, get you to upload your work. So no slacking, don't waste the time just because I've not been there. I am monitoring you. I will be on Google Classroom if you want to ask me any questions or show me anything. You can I'll set a little thing up there so you can actually upload stuff to me and ask for comments and feedback. So I am around during the lesson. I just happen to be 20 miles away, but I am at the other end of this computer. So please feel free to ask questions.